Would you rather me use a bot farm or just put my butt on Instagram? Hi, I'm Jana Pokop, and my friend Alexander Doust and I love new music and also good cocktails. Welcome to Mixomusicology, a nerdy show about both. It'll work like this. Every episode, we'll break down a set of recently released songs, or a full album if a big one just dropped, and talk about what works for us, what doesn't, and the broader landscape that music sits in, both in terms of pop culture and in terms of how the song was made. Each week, we'll also make a themed cocktail that, if you're following along on our Substacks, you can make with us. Listen along every week with our companion playlist, available down below in the show notes.
This week, we're covering Charli xcx's rock music, Tove Lo's I'm Your Girl, Right? And Aldous Harding's Train on the Island. In a world that seems to yearn for the panopticon, a word I learned for the SATs over a decade ago and have found every excuse to use since, I find a concerted dedication to mystery kind of punk. What I mean is it's very easy to know too much about someone. You can Google somebody's phone number and accidentally find out where their parents live. And sometimes I'll open up Instagram and see a friend's butt, which, listen, I don't want to complain about butts. I love butts. It's just not ever what I was expecting. Influencer culture and reality TV before it have almost certainly bent the confines of what we think people need to know about us. Access, perceived at least, to people's lives has been normalized, filmed, commodified to the point that our gauge for what oversharing is might be a little broken. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself and my own relationship to social media, but I can't help but admire a commitment to opacity, especially when it comes to sharing art in those spaces. I love a dialogue around what fame means. What do the relationships we form with celebrities in pop culture look like from the side of the people making that culture happen? All 3 songs this week are from artists who have grappled with the gaze of an audience and the platforms it affords them in very different ways. Aldous Harding tackles it with a live show Medusa stare, doing unblinking sets in a way that feels like a commentary on how her show attendees view her. The meaning of her lyrics is frequently, and increasingly, I feel, unreadable. Her music videos often feature masks and heavy face paint, and her voice changes so frequently within her albums that interviewers routinely ask her which voice of hers is the real one. Charli xcx wrote an entire album about being everywhere, and then halfway through, she flipped it all on its nose and talked about the things she feared missing out on because of her work. This week, she takes that fame and the sound she's known for now and sort of trashes it. Tove Lo has always been a master of controlling the gaze on her own music, discussing how people view her both literally and metaphorically in hits like Bikini Porn, Cool Girl, Really Don't Like You. She's aware of her own meta-context, and she comments on it all the time, indirectly. There's very few songs of hers that don't explicitly lay out some sort of connection between herself and an onlooker. I think there's a real power in being able to control how you're perceived. I think every one of these artists is so intentional with that, and in each in such a different and fascinating way. I'm excited to get into it. Hi, Jana.
Hi, Alex.
What's your favorite piece of media that features some sort of meta-commentary on pop culture?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's a bit of an evil one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I could come up with a better answer tonight when I wake up at 3 a.m. I mean, okay, the thing that came to mind because it's so front of mind, and I talked about it on the pod already, but the Mother Mary movie was really interesting, and I know you haven't seen it yet, and you will.
I will.
But it's discussing a lot about what it takes to be an artist and what the inspiration of an artist is and what happens when that inspiration is overused or messed up or, maligned in some way. And there's a lot there. And it made me think a lot. So that's my answer for now. I don't know.
I love that.
What's yours?
I have 2. One is really Oscar worthy and the other one is like just flopped. And I think I've talked about it on the podcast too. I love Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is very good meta commentary on the music industry.
Okay, I want to counter with Spice World.
Spice World hit me at the wrong time and I thought it was dumb. I need to revisit it.
It is one of my favorites, but in that same mold that
Yeah.
is Josie. Yeah.
For sure. And then the other one, the Oscar buzzy one, is Network with Faye Dunaway.
Ooh, I know that's a classic, and I'm pretty sure I saw it as like a dumb 15-year-old on cable TV one Sunday afternoon, but I have not watched it as an adult, quote unquote adult.
The one quote that people take from it is, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore."
There we go.
Yeah. But the whole movie's great.
I should rewatch that.
Yeah. I feel like that's a deep cut at this point. I don't know. I don't hear
Right?
Network talked about a whole lot, but I love Network.
Which just threaded me over to, I feel like I've seen reference to The Social Network more on social media lately, just because people are discussing what are these billionaires doing, and like that movie was an interesting
Take on
look
that?
into the founding of how stupid it all is.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that's a great
Anyway.
question. What a lovely monologue in a in our dystopian hellscape. It was great.
Can I say that this monologue was rewritten a little bit because I wanted to talk about Spencer Pratt and the run for the LA mayoral race.
LA, come on, guys.
And I found myself going on a diatribe about how reality TV stars probably shouldn't be politicians. And I walked it back a little bit, but I do want to mention it on this podcast in case anyone's listening from LA. Like, don't vote for Spencer Pratt. Come on.
Have we not learned? We have had 10 years of hell.
Yeah.
Do not do this to yourselves, Los Angeles.
It doesn't make sense. It truly doesn't. Yeah.
No.
Don't do it. Lauren Conrad was right.
It's true.
Yeah.
There's our pop culture turnaround. Tie it in a
Yes.
bow.
Yeah. Jana, how was your week? What'd you do?
I did a bunch of moving. It's what I'm calling my slow-mo move, but and some days I find that I'm like, man, I wish I could just plop it all in all at once like I have in the past. But then there's a grace and a nice organization to moving slow. So I took over all my books one day, and they're all sort of on shelves and that kind of stuff. The first thing I set up was my stereo and my turntable. So that shows you where my priorities are at.
That scans. But then you have music for all of the rest of the unpacking.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I don't have internet in the new place yet because I'm putting off the Switch. So I'm like, what do? I guess I'm going to play CDs and records now.
Play CDs. Get your Mary Chapin Carpenter on.
Exactly. I have one short little story that I found charming that happened to me today.
Okay.
I found I sent you a picture. 2 killer mid-century modern lamp bases were just buried in Mom's closet. I don't even remember them existing. So she put them away when we moved here 40 years ago. But so I was like, these are great. They need new cords and they don't have shades. And I was looking around Albuquerque for like a lamp repair place. And I called one, and the system was so charming. I left a voice message for them last week. Deborah called back today and said, I have an appointment slot for you to bring in your lamps on Wednesday or Thursday. And I picked one. And she's like, I have you down. And she called me dear. I was like, for a minute last week, I was like, why can't I just make an appointment online? And now I'm like, no, this is exactly how lamp repair should go.
Because it brought you into Deborah's orbit. Yes.
Exactly.
I love a Deborah.
Deborah sounds so nice. And she was like, yeah, she was excited about my lamps. So what more can one ask for? Anyway, you've had an interesting week already, and it's only Tuesday. Tell me.
I've had an interesting week. I'll give you 2 quick stories and then we'll dive in. The first is that I saved a baby starling after 3 died on my patio, which sucks.
Oh my God.
So there's I live in a high rise, and like 3 stories up, there's a gap between the window and like the ceiling of the exterior of the building. And a bunch of starlings have nested there, right? Which is lovely. And I find them like fascinating little creatures. Look into the language of starlings if you haven't before, because, oh man, the amount of voicings they're able to do is just so cool.
That's awesome.
But the mama bird was prioritizing the healthy babies and definitely pushed some out of the nest. Nature's gross and sad. One of the ones that was pushed out of the nest ended up surviving. And so the mama bird was trying to feed it while it was down on the ground, but it wasn't working really well. And then we had a bit of a cold night. And it was like shivering in a corner behind, like a storage box that I have. And I was like, well, that won't do. So I caught the bird very gently and brought it inside for the night in a cat carrier that I have, and gave it food that is appropriate for starlings because I did too much research on it. And then it pooped a bunch in the cage, and then the next morning early, I let it back out, and it flew, and it's good.
Sometimes you just need a nice rest and a good poop.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty much it.
You.
Just rest and poop. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you. And then the other thing that happened is my friend is a pilot, or not a pilot, but he has a pilot's license, and he's been threatening to take me up in the plane for months and months now, and I finally did that, and we went hiking in Pennsylvania, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
But you saw photos of me in a plane and went like, what are we doing here? And that's what we were doing. I went hiking.
Really cool.
Thank you. I felt like a bush pilot.
Yes. It was great. It's fun going up in those smaller airplanes. I had one of my friends, Alex Whitmore, flies planes in Big Bend around Terlingua.
Very cool.
Yeah, we got to fly over Big Bend one day. It was incredible. It's the only time I've ever done that.
Flying over New York was amazing. I've been in small planes before because I used to skydive pretty frequently. But I had never been in a plane quite that small, like a 4-seater.
Hang on, rewind. How do I not know this about you? How many times have you skydived?
Enough to go on my own.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you keep impressing me.
I need to stay surprising. Anytime I feel like I need a routine shakeup, I do something a little crazy. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people dye their hair blonde. I go skydiving.
Some people caramelize bananas.
Some people caramelize bananas, which is what I did right before this. I have dyed my hair bleach blonde before after a breakup too. So I am nobody to talk.
Well, that's just good maintenance, really.
Good maintenance. Jana, would you like a caramelized banana drink?
Yes, I would.
All right. So today we are making a train on the island named after Aldous Harding's new album and the single we're reviewing today. To make it, you fat washed some sesame oil into bourbon, which basically just means that you let it steep in bourbon and then froze it and then filtered it out. And what that does is it changes obviously the flavor, but also the mouthfeel of a bourbon. Also, if you have a really bad bourbon, not that we do, but if you do, it kind of rounds out the edges, like the rough edges of the drink. So it's a good way to make something taste better if it's bad.
I was intimidated when you mentioned it, and then you walked me through it. And fat washing is not hard, guys. Like, try it. It's so fun.
Did you see how I walked you through, like diffusing herbs and stuff into cocktails first, and now we're doing the fat washing? There's a plan. There's true. Yeah, there's grand machinations happening.
Keep Jana from panicking with too many things. I feel confident.
You should. So the recipe for a train on the island is 1.5 ounces of sesame-washed bourbon, a 1/2 ounce of rum, a 1/2 ounce of banana liqueur, a pinch of smoked sea salt, and 2 dashes of angostura bitters. Jenna, if you don't have smoked sea salt, that's okay.
I did not, unfortunately.
That's fine.
I have a lot of salt and none of it's smoked.
That was a last-minute ad for me, but it was good, so I'm keeping it in. All right. What you're going to do with this is just add all of the ingredients to a mixing glass with ice. You'll stir it until it's cold. Then you'll strain it over a rocks glass with a large ice cube. Thank you for the ASMR, Jana.
Anytime.
And that's it. It's just it's a stirred drink, so it's pretty easy.
Alex's garnish is way cooler. I have none, but that's okay.
So I garnish this with And I am so sorry. I'm going to, despite my year of Mandarin, butcher this name. But there's a traditional Chinese dish called Básī xiāngjiāo, which is basically just caramelized bananas. And then it's often topped with sesame, which is the basis, obviously, for this cocktail. So I thought it would be great. But yeah, basically you batter up bananas, deep fry them, and then do a caramel coating on top of them.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I would just
I will
that.
say, if you see the photo for this week, it looks a tiny bit like orange chicken, but I promise it's bananas. And they are amazing. When I had them, they were still just a little bit warm, which was perfect. Yeah.
Guys, next week we'll pivot into those obscene Bloody Marys where they just stack full burgers on top, but it'll be like orange chicken and other fried delights. Just kidding. We're not doing that.
I'm not a Bloody Mary person.
Me neither.
I think this is an anti-Bloody Mary podcast, at least for now.
I would also like to note you gave me a great tip. If there's any kind of like the sesame oil, it did freeze, but there was still a little bit in the bourbon. So straining it through a paper towel worked really well.
Yeah, a lot of people do cheesecloth, and I think that is better if you have it. I never have it on hand, but filtering it through paper towels does work.
Worked like a charm.
For the garnish, if you don't feel, I will include the caramelized bananas recipe, but if you don't feel like making caramelized bananas because you're not an insane person, you could do a banana chip, you could do an orange peel. I think that ginger would honestly work, like crystallized ginger would work well here. Yeah, add a little bit more of a, I don't know, like a fun dynamic. You were talking about adding candy to it, Jana, and I think that might be the way to go.
Yeah. It's a sweet one. I actually need to taste this, but
yeah. Clink. Cheers.
Clink.
It's weird and good.
Well, I got it. It went in layers. I got the sesame hit first, and then I think I was like, "Ooh, there's rum," and then the banana came in last, which was nice.
Yeah, and it's if you get a good banana liqueur, and you have did you get the Driade?
I did.
Okay, so Driade, Tempus Fugit, or I have Gifford. It's Gifford. I don't need to Google. But any of those three, they make a really good banana liqueur that does not taste like banana runts. You know,
that's a fear with banana flavor.
Yeah, it can get really fake and really bad very quickly. But all three of those brands make something that is more than anything just tropical and kind of lovely.
Yeah, this was nice. I had to laugh. I made. Don't mock me, internet, but I picked up the banana liqueur and I also got a bottle of, for a separate occasion, orange wine. And I was like, man, when I'm checking out at Total Wine, they're going to be like, she does not know what she's doing.
And the thing is, I think more than most people what you're doing at this point.
I hope so. I should have added like some coconut rum or something else obscene to that tropical,
my God,
just array. And people are like,
like, what's happening here?
Yeah, are you okay?
I will say, so when you're fat washing, you tend to do it as a batch, right? I think I made it with 6 ounces of bourbon, which means that I have a couple drinks left over. If you don't want to just make this drink, there's a million other things you can do with sesame fat washed bourbon. It makes an incredibly good highball. So if you want something that is like a longer drink, less of a boozy sort of sipper drink,
right?
Like go highball. Or
that's awesome.
Even a sour would be pretty good.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, so I talked about them already, but this week we are reviewing Aldous Harding's Train on the Island, Charli xcx's Rock Music, and Tove Lo's I'm Your Girl, right?
Yeah.
Not in that order. I think let's start with Charli xcx if you're good with that.
Me and my friends, we go out, we take pictures and make stuff together, and sometimes we cry, we kiss each other, real incestuous vibes. Yeah, we're so inspired, basically all the time. Yeah, we're on to the next. I think the dance floor is dead, so now we're making rock music. Wow, I'm really banging
What is happening?
I feel like I made a reference last week. I might have cut it out, but to Celebrity Skin.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what if you took Celebrity Skin, but only the concept and main guitar riff of it and made something in the vibe of rock music without it being rock at all?
Right? I was
Yeah.
even trying to discern, it's not a guitar, is it? Is it a synth? Is it a fuzzed out synth acting like a guitar? Or is it
Oh,
a
man,
real
now
affected guitar?
Now I'm going to have to look. Hang on.
I know. And I think, number one, I love anything Charli does. So I think it's brilliant. And I think she's probably got a point beyond what I can even comprehend here. But it's a minute 55 of a bop.
Yeah, to me, this feels like a taste of a different palette, if that makes sense. Like she's priming us for an actual single, but this is not it, right?
Yeah. I just saw she's got something coming out soon, another single. So I was like, okay, she's building. She's world building, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think if I can, I don't know, if I can guess at something, this single was not particularly well received.
Not that I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've seen any commentary on it, but a lot of social commentary is like, I don't get it, or like this, it doesn't make sense to me. And
Exactly. Which to me says Charli's succeeding at her art. So
yeah,
carry on.
I think pivots are really important, and I think they're important to her personally too, because after Brat, which was so monumental, right?
Huge.
I think either she could try and match that speed for the rest of her career and try and always capture that amount of attention and fame, which is a race to the bottom. It'll never happen again. Right?
It won't. She can't. And to all credit to her, she's wonderful. It's impossible. That was a moment in a zeitgeist. And
She pivoted to doing 2 soundtracks, right?
yeah.
And then
Wuthering Heights and something else.
well, she did the soundtrack for Mother Mary.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And
that.
from there, changed her sound up pretty completely. This does to me still feel like it has like the PC music DNA in it.
Yeah,
because
for
like
sure.
she worked with Sophie, the producer, for Forever and Ever, like long-term colleagues, and has also worked with a lot of other people from PC Music. Yeah, and so I just you can kind of hear that sound here too, and I think it's nice.
I love that it still sounds like Charli, like it's a Charli project, but I'm like, where are we going? And I will say, I know a lot of our listeners, some are super into this and ahead of what we're doing even, and a lot of my folky friends are just along for the pop ride, and I appreciate you guys. If you can, listen to Brat and then listen to the Brat remix record, which I found just to be such a foundational piece of pop history. What Charli did with both those projects,
Truly.
so good.
She completely changed kind of how a pop release gets packaged.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone had done what she did before her, and I think that people will try and emulate it but really struggle to match afterward.
Like I remember in that summer, it was election time, and like suddenly it was like, is Kamala Harris Brat? And like I was like, oh no, she's peaked and tipped over into pop culture. Like but Charli handled it well, and the music and the record remain, just iconic. But the cultural moment there, you could not pay for that kind of reach,
No, for sure. And I mean, I remember seeing some released content from her original plan for the album where she wrote out like all of the basic stuff that she wanted to do. And it was so smart and pinpointed, and like she knew exactly what she was doing and how to pull it off. Like she is an incredible creator.
Man.
Yeah.
This is a plug, and the links are always in the comments for Alex's Substack, because he talks a lot on his writings about how things are being marketed these days. And I'm not saying back in the ye old days of 2024 it was all organic and pure, but that was a moment in time, and now all the moments seem very planned out and manufactured. And
yeah. So I mean, we can talk about it for a second. So essentially, I wrote an article about a company called Chaotic Good Projects that got some flack. I think that people thought it was a little bit naive, and I didn't mean it to be. I'm quite studied on this stuff, I feel.
You are.
Thank you. But essentially, Chaotic Good Projects is a PR company that is in the business of narrative shaping. So they were taking a bunch of major pop artists, but also surprisingly, like a bunch of indie artists, more recent ones, and they were using what were essentially narrative shaping bot farms to flood comment sections after a major release of any artist with positive sentiments, right? Now, PR has always existed. I have a degree in PR. I was in PR for years. But this shift to essentially co-opting, the playbook of political adversaries, essentially, the stuff that happened with the 2016 election, but evolved because of AI, and applying that to music, that is a new phenomenon that I think deserves conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you rather me use a bot farm or just put my butt on Instagram?
Ooh. Dealer's choice, Jenna.
It's not a safe question for me to ask, no.
It's not a safe question.
The answer is neither, ladies and gents. I will just keep making soft-hearted acoustic folk pop.
If the music, if the music you were making were best supported by you putting your butt on the internet, I would be like, hell yeah. One of the things that I didn't want to do with that monologue today is come off as a conservative. I'm not.
No, you are not.
The furthest from. I love butts on the internet. There weren't always butts on the internet. And there's a lot of casual people putting butts on the internet now, which I find fascinating.
Trying everything, and it's got to be true to your art and your artistic vision and all that. I will say, super back to last week's episode, I'll watch Katie Gavin in a leotard all day. She's great at that.
And
Let's
I think Muna is a perfect example of no, that makes sense for their music. Like their music is so, I'm going to use the word slutty, and I do mean it in the best way possible.
Parentheses, complimentary. Yes.
Yes.
Anyway,
exactly.
I love that. Your points are so well made, and truly go read Alex's Substack and subscribe.
That's so sweet. Thank you. Any final thoughts on Charli? Because I really like this. More than anything, I'm excited to see where else this goes.
Exactly. It's the perfect lead into whatever it is. And I like that, as per your monologue, I like that there's mystery. She has not laid it out for us, and I'm thrilled. So let's keep listening for the next Charli move here. Oh, Tove Lo. I love her. Let's go.
I'm your girl, right? Love me hard, it's not my first time. I'm your girl, right? Heart still aches, you wanna hurt mine. I like your teeth, could what you eat for days, a fancy steak, I'll pay. Is that perfume, or is it you? I taste, bite the skin, then tell me what I wanna hear now. Don't make me doubt. Promise me you'll never leave me. Don't let me down. I'm your girl, right? Love me hard, it's not my first time.
The Swedes are the best at pop music.
The Swedes are consistently the best at pop music, yes.
Tove Lo was just born into it. She couldn't help it.
There are, like a Carly Rae Jepsen album, there are few albums from Tove Lo that I do not like and do not think are perfect pop.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have consistently had, I just looked it up, Talkin' Body came out in 2014. It's been on playlists for me for 12 years straight. It's such a jam. It's one of my favorite songs, period.
Yeah, like Charli, Tove Lo has also kind of dived into doing some soundtrack work. I know she did some work for Euphoria.
Oh, that's right.
And she's also just very, very good at that too. I think she's a stronger everything than maybe people might give her credit for. Like, she's a great vocalist.
Charli had her breakout moment, and now she's kind of top of pop. I wanted to mention I saw Charli open as the first opening act for Taylor Swift in like 2018 on the Reputation tour. It was Charli and then Camila Cabello and then Taylor. And so Charli had, anyway, now I'm like, I couldn't even imagine. She's so huge now. But Tove Lo hasn't had that moment in the United States as much. And I wish for her what she wishes, but I think she's just excellent, you know?
I would totally agree. I think she's a great musician. In this song, it's a bit of a pivot from her earlier sound, I think. It's not often, I can't think of a lot of times, that Tove Lo has kind of dived into an indie rock sound, which is almost what this is.
That's true. I was focusing more on I want to go clubbing and drink a tequila soda, but that fits too.
So it starts with like that doubled vocal that's pretty wide but a little dirty sounding, right? Like it's not pristine pop to start. And then it brings in the distressed bass doing just that eighth note pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, you're right, it does go into house 90s FM piano, which I love.
We had the piano stabs in the pre-chorus and then a build to a drop. And I was like, what year is this? But it still sounds fresh. It doesn't sound old.
There's a build to a drop and then the harder bass comes in and it's like, it's really, it's studied production. I'm curious to see what the rest of this release is going to sound like.
Yeah, this is the first single off of her project that is coming out, I guess, this summer called Estrus. I forgot the release date, but it's coming. It's going to be the summer of pop girls again, which I love for us.
Opening with a lyric like, I like your teeth, could watch you eat for days is pretty fun.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, we fuck all night on Ritalin.
Yeah. Yep. Also, I realized that we did not talk about the lyrics in the last song from Charli, but can I honorable mention, wow, I'm really banging my head. I'm really hurting my neck.
I put that in my notes too. The nerve damage is real, but it's the only way to feel something. Hurt yourself. Yeah. Okay, Charli, you can tell she's entering. She's a millennial along with us, I guess.
It's just a very funny line. Going back to Tove Lo though, yeah, it's nice to see someone mix all of these different kind of genres into one song and have it work really well.
Yeah, once again, these first two songs are just leads into other projects, and I'm curious as to how they fit in the context of everything. Lyrically, I was like, it's just, I don't know, it's just a banger. There's not a ton going on, but like you said, there's some killer lines that hit, like the first one.
Yeah, I don't know that it's always fair to judge a pop song to the same lyrical standard as other stuff that we might review.
For sure.
I don't think that Tove Lo is trying to be the most nuanced lyricist, and I don't know that her songs would be supported by that either.
She does not need to be, because she brings the whole thing. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so for what it is, I love it. I think this is a great song.
Same. Yeah. I'm excited for the whole project.
Do you want to dive into Aldous Harding?
Let's go. I'm excited for this one. I am not up on the coolness of Aldous, but I know you're gonna bring me up to speed, so
I will do that. I'm so excited. All right, let's listen.
Mommy said my inception was like eating a pearl. I blew all glass out the home. Reflections steal my mind. Train on the island, thought I heard it blow. Train on the island. Train on the island, thought I heard it blow. Train on the island.
that was lovely. This reminds me of the set of songs we did a few weeks back where I can't remember the first two because time is unending. But
and then it was
we
Beth.
ended. Yes, we ended with Beth Orton, and it was like, exhale. This is absolutely perfect and lovely.
This song is, like I said in my monologue, it's pretty opaque, but in terms of the sound of it, it is laid back, very, very smooth, very sparse.
My note was this is a lesson in restrained production, and it's not like it's boring, but it was so tasteful the whole way through.
All of her music is just that way. It's so subtle.
Tell us about Aldous, because I looked up a little bit just before, and she's been doing her thing for a long time.
She has. Aldous is a musician from New Zealand. I think you can hear that a lot in her sound, especially on this album. She kind of got her start working with the producer John Parrish, who, if you know John Parrish at all, it is from his work with PJ Harvey. I think that's what he's most known for. And I think you can kind of hear that here too. He's also, he's worked with Perfume Genius. I think he did the album Too Bright with Perfume Genius. Cool. Yeah. And so she kind of sits in a similar space. But it's clear that she's always written like this. She's always had this soft, subtle, I don't know. There's also some sort of like gothic horror to a lot of her songs too, just in a very strange way. They've all got a weird humor about them.
That makes sense, because I was like, I'm not sure what this is about, but I'm on board for all of it, you know? Like, and I love lyricism like that. I don't need you to hit me over the head with your meaning all the time.
Let's start with the lyricism, and then we'll dive into some other things. What did you like about this?
Oh, it was like little snippets, train on the island, so it puts us in a little bit of a visual space, but just the way I don't know, it's like we're going through the thoughts in her head. Mommy said my inception was like eating a pearl. That line just stopped me, and that's in the first verse. But
yeah, so that part of the verse, if I can read it out, is Mommy said my inception was like eating a pearl. I blew all glass out the home. Reflections steal my mind.
That's poetry. And then the next verse section after the train on the island refrain is, I hate my perception, but the medication slows my mind. Men touched my leg, and I thought, react just like a girl. Ooh, that hit.
I wanted to ask you what story you thought was being told here, because again, a lot of Aldous's songs are so secretive.
Like, the first two verses are her definitely being reflective. And at first I was like, oh, she's on a train. I was like, no, she's not. She thought she heard it blow. So she's somewhere where she is hearing this sound. And then the later verses, it's I and you. So she's kind of shifted the point of view to talking about somebody that she wants to get close to. I think it's just a beautiful moment in time, maybe, or a floating kind of thought process here.
Yeah, I think I was trying to draw a line from Men Touched My Leg and I Thought React Just Like a Girl to the bridge, which is I Want to Land in Olympic Sand with You, Hit the Gas, Dance Just to Dance, which to me feels like her trying to be in a moment and failing, right? The dance just to dance, just to be there.
Right. Olympic sand, I was like, what does that mean? And then I was like, well, what do you think of? What do you think Olympic sand? And I'm like, the most perfect, fine-grained, beautiful sand you could think of would be Olympic sand, you know?
Yeah, and, she throws in the line, there's Sicilians reaching over the clams. So I think she's trying to establish a location there as well.
That's true.
Yeah. But the next line is, you took my hand and I thought, lay me out on the ground. Right. And so it's an anxiety that she's speaking to there, where it's not like, oh, someone's taking my hand. It's, oh, this person's going to hurt me.
Yeah. That is an interesting twist there.
It's, I can't quite parse what she wants to, or I guess what she doesn't want to say here.
Well, and part of me thinks you took my hand and I thought lay me out on the ground is more of a romantic invitation, except it sounds very like hardcore. I don't know. That's a fascinating thought line there.
I guess I didn't go that way because at the end of the bridge, she says, "All my life I've thrown Olympic sand." And it's like, that's a very physical way to describe that.
Totally.
Yeah.
This is a fascinating song, just lyrically and then
It is.
musically too.
Diving back into production, that big bass sound, that really blown out sort of, like, it's the sound you only get from using a tiny practice amp. You know?
That makes sense. And it was such a great line.
Sound. Yeah.
Great bass line. On the amp note, there's a little fuzzed out guitar that I'm sure is a bunch of cool processed effects, but it's just a simple picked guitar line that comes in sometimes. And to me, it sounded like, because I've been there, like you're using a cheap battery powered amp and the batteries are dying. That's what that tone sounded like, and I loved it. I
wouldn't put it past John Parrish, having worked with PJ Harvey, you know, for a lot of years, a lot of projects, to throw something like that in there.
That would be incredible. That kind of stuff is just a delight, you know. At first you're like, that's kind of weird, and they're like, oh no, this is really cool.
Yeah. There's a total chord change in the second chorus that I think is really interesting and very good, right? Because, I mean, Marin last week when she was talking about Muna mentioned, you know, they were keeping enough in the songs the same every time so that when they switched something up, you really paid attention to that. I think Aldous here is also doing that in a very different way, but very successfully, where it's like that bass line just continues over and over with the piano through the song. But then you get a chord change that feels out of left field, and it works really well.
The first time I was listening, I was like, is that a key change? And it wasn't. It was just, you know, we're shifting it up a little bit, which is interesting.
Yeah, there's a revoicing there, yeah. And then a little slide guitar comes in, and that's nice. At the end of the bridge, in one of the last lines, there's one tom hit. Just one.
That's all you need sometimes.
Yeah.
I noticed coming, I think into the last chorus, the piano line just was duetting with her, like, same for same note, and it and that was all that was going on, and it was really cool. It was simple. And
then they start bringing in like an amped flute.
Yeah
Of
course.
There's a lot of really interesting kind of unplaceable sounds here, which again I think really supports her entire vibe.
I was just imagining that they must have had a blast in the studio with this song. Like,
I imagine they did. Jenna, I'm gonna send you a tiny playlist of Aldous Harding songs that you should listen to.
Yes, please. I need to up my knowledge like fast now. Thank you for the intro.
Any final thoughts?
Just that this was a very interesting trio of songs, but once again, we made it work. So
we made it work. One day we will run out of ways to thread that needle of monologues that cover all three songs, but not this week.
Not this week.
They can't keep us down.
I have faith in us. We're never-ending fonts of, if not wisdom, sometimes BS, and those things work together.
I've been in marketing for long enough that I'm like 92% BS at this point. Yeah.
Guys, none of this was done by bots or AI. It's just pure brains.
Yes. It's just us.
And our fat-washed bourbon.
Jenna, this was great. Thank you so much.
A delightful episode. Thank you, Alex. Thank you guys for listening.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Mixomusicology. It's a labor of love from two working musicians, and we're so honored to have you along for the ride. If you like what we do, consider sharing this episode or the podcast more broadly on socials and rating us on whatever app you're using to listen. Have a new music suggestion? Have thoughts on a song we reviewed? Reach out to us on socials. We'd love to hear from you. See you next week.